So then when you came out with the storage room, I was like, oh my God, is she crying? Like, we were trying
I went to the storage room to get cookie dough.
I know, but we didn't.
To feed your pregnancy cravings.
Don't say that. Sam, there's Pete, and I'm not pregnant. I literally have my period.
But at the time, I got scared.
Do you understand that there's someone that writes down everything we say, and then people talk about it on a podcast?
What podcast?
I don't know. That's what Cliff said.
That's awesome.
No, that's not, because I don't want that to be a topic of discussion.
No, you got your period today.
It was never.
Big brother gossip is a dangerous game. Big brother gossip is a dangerous game. Big brother gossip is a dangerous game.
Big brother gossip.
But are you conspiring against me?
No, I'm actually not.
I'm conspiring about trying to make a showmance with you. I'm asking them the pros and cons of it right now.
Pros are that I might be gone next week, so you can get another showman. So it'd be, 2 for 1. Con, I'm slightly crazy.
If you're hot, you can touch me.
Yeah. If your toes were on Tinder, they would get a lot of swipes.
Why don't you wear stuff like that more often?
Because I'm not playing this game with my body. I'm playing with my brain and my heart and my soul.
I am not about to have a man have any influence on my game.
It's what I came in here to do, is to spread nothing but love and not fill this house with animosity and hatred.
Bitches get stitches, my friend. I don't know what that's to do with the situation, but I just always wanted to say that about everything.
I'll never understand women.
Big brother gossip.
9:40 this morning, the universe was shaking my bladder to make me pee.
Nicole's line is, I don't
I thought her line was, I'm a straight shooter. I mean, I say what I mean what I say.
She's a straight shooter, but she's using freaking shotgun shells. She blasts everybody in her path.
I said you guys, I'm a straight shooter.
There was speakings of an all-women's alliance, and that you were kind of the head of that thing.
Get the fuck out of here.
I know.
Someone told him I'm a mastermind of the Girls Alliance.
A mastermind?
Yeah, me. A mastermind.
I think it's like a given that you're the 9.
That's an 8-person alliance.
These bitches conspiring against me?
Why the fuck would anyone say anything of secretism in front of a fucking person that's clearly not something he was awake 20 minutes before?
Is it harder to have fun because you're in the game? I'm not in the game. Kind of. I'm not really in the game like you guys. So
I feel like you're still in the game. Like, I didn't start watching Big Brother till the week before I came here.
Yeah.
So I don't know shit.
Okay. No one realizes it. They're fine.
Okay.
You're just not really doing anything.
If she brings up my fucking bracelets and my fucking grandmother, I swear to God, I would bury her.
And my cat checking our
You can suck my fucking dick, literally.
Big brother gossip.
I'm sorry, I'm not fucking playing. This is not the Jack show. This is not the Jack show, and apparently everybody thinks it is.
This thing is cute.
Are you obsessed now?
No, I've never experienced it.
And there's dick energy involved.
It's big dick energy.
I know, but I didn't want to say that on... But yes, the rumors are true.
So, Sage, you're kind of a cornhole expert now, aren't you?
I wish.
I'm gonna smack that ass.
Oh my God, do you want me to leave?
Bro, I'll have you watch. I pants this girl and smack that bottom.
I'll watch it. It really is a platonic showman.
Platonic showman.
It's a very platonic showman.
Without any of the romantic anything.
That's what platonic means.
I like fucking girls.
This is bullshit because I didn't know she was gay until like day 4, so I'd already liked her, so it doesn't count.
Your eyes are like chocolate, like Nutella.
Is that good or bad?
I understand he's an alpha male. Like, I see the fucking pissing contests he has with, like, all the other alpha males in his house. You know what I mean?
No, but
just... Huh?
A pissing contest?
Yeah.
They literally piss.
No.
I manifested the HOH room. I manifested the theme of the house. I literally manifested being camp. Yeah.
Good, I'm bored off my ass. I'm losing my mind.
I'm losing mine from boredom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's med time.
They give you mints like every day?
Yeah.
They give them to you?
Yeah. Because they're it's like a controlled substance, I guess. I don't know.
Got it.
And Christy's mouth is it's just constant.
I'm literally not talking today. I'm just laying down by the pool and just relaxed.
And also, right now, I can find out if the bitches really were conspiring against me.
We've never heard that line before from you, Catherine.
Big brother gossip.
Hey kids, It's the season finale of the Big Brother Gossip Show. Yay!
Yay.
Oh, let me do this. Finally, we can wrap this bitch up. Also, it's my 5th podcast in 4 days, including my 2nd tonight.
Really?
Yeah, really. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Hudson. I'm joined by my feisty pair of co-hosts. First off, he's the man with the car cast, the man who really cares about have-nots. It's
Apparently.
Mike.
Hi, Scott. Hi, Colette. Hi, everybody.
And it's my day drinking cohort, a person who does not give a shit at all about have-nots, Colette Lala.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
It's the last time that we gather together on a weekend for a few months.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
Yes.
I'm sad.
270 some, or 260 to 70 days to be precise.
I saw your tweet about that. I was like, shut up. Don't remind me.
How happy is your wife about that?
She's got a lot of drinks tonight. She's celebrating.
Oh God. she's having a Big Brother is Over party too. We should give her a mic.
No, I don't know about that.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, we thank all of you people who have listened throughout the season, and every season we've been doing this. Especially those who go to patreon.com/BigBrotherGossip to give us a couple dollars here. Hey, this is your last chance. Please help us out. I mean, it really does help us out. We spend so much time putting these shows together, and we do have all kinds of fun levels of things. If you pay at the certain level, you get this or that. But I think Colette needs to talk about the fact that even though the Big Brother Gossip Show ends after this week, we're still drinking during the day a couple times a week.
Oh, that's right. Day drinking keeps going. Day drinking lives forever. We have not stopped day drinking since we started day drinking, as a matter of fact. We never take a week off.
That's why 5 podcasts in 4 days is kind of tough on me.
Yes. So day drinking, if you are a patron of the Big Brother Gossip Show and you have been getting and enjoying day drinking or the Bravo bonus show and the newsletter and whatnot, you will, and you're still subscribed here as a patron for tonight, or new people, if you want to just thank us for the summer, maybe give us $5, $10 or whatever. You've never been a patron all summer long, but you want to just say thank you because you've been here and spent hours with us. That would be wonderful. And if you do that, you will find next Wednesday and next Friday, depending on what levels that you're signed up at, you might find day drinking showing up in your mailbox, or the Bravo bonus show and the newsletter. So yeah, if you're signed up as a patron on Big Brother Gossip, you get one more episode of day drinking and all that stuff with it. Then after that, you are going to have to switch Patreons to keep getting day drinking. And here's what we're going to do, because we love you guys so much. If you do come with us and stay with us throughout the year, we are going to cut the price of day drinking in half, because we value loyalty above everything else. And we love that you guys.
I've never heard you talk about loyalty.
Shut up, Scott. And so it is very, very important that you follow us on all of our social media. Follow Day Drinking Pod on Twitter, our Facebook page, whatnot. I'll pin a tweet telling you how to do that. And I'm going to talk about it at the top of both of Day Drinking and Bravo Bonus Show. I'm going on and on about this because you don't understand. I will, and I know it's going to happen, because I always get tweets like 2 or 3 weeks after Big Brother Gossip ends, and people are like, wait a minute, I still wanted to get day drinking. Why am I still not getting day drinking? And they didn't make the switch. So I need to reiterate. You need to make the switch, and we will tell you how on next week's day drinking.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. And also, we do have a merch site, bigbrothergossip.threadless.com. Mike has made some great pieces of art for our little site there for Stop the Hypocrisy, Keep Calm and Listen to Colette, which, oh God. And also,
it's a big seller. It's a big seller. Selling like hotcakes.
And also Conspiracy Corner, which is probably my favorite of bunch. And also the Big Brother Gossip Show and Day Drinking. We have all kinds of great things there. And finally, we have our super executive producers. First off, Stephen Darby, the man who turned me into a War Eagle fan. They are still undefeated, by the way. I don't know who they play tomorrow, but I'll watch. I so appreciate him getting me back into college football. So go War Eagle, right? Go War Eagle. And of course, our second super executive producer is Matt Gray, who just minutes before we started our show, he emailed me. He wanted me to say this for this week. Use my moment to pat yourselves on the back for producing a great show and being awesome for the fans. Your clips, Mike's CarCast, Colette's killer attitude. You all are amazing, and I appreciate the time you spent on this all summer. You don't know how much that made me laugh when I read that.
It's like, what can I put about Colette? What can I put about Colette? Oh, killer attitude.
Yes. And then, of course, there's our executive producers.
Well, first up, we have Julia Barnes. Julia has whipped up a special Big Brother Gossip finale concoction for us. Because remember, she's a very famous mixologist.
That's right.
Her new drink for us tonight, it's called the Death Rattle. And it contains 3 parts grain alcohol, 4 parts guava juice, 1 part rattlesnake venom, 2 parts peyote with a splash of cranberry, and it is served with a papaya garnish that is speared with cactus thorns. The Death Rattle. She might be trying to kill us. I'm not sure.
She kind of scares me with that.
And what would we do without our very own Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, Phil and Angie Barker? And also, our favorite guy. What would we do without our very own Vince Diamond Phillips?
Oh.
And lastly, he is the Shogun of the United States, the Emperor of Kentucky, the Crown Prince of Chicago, the Grand Marshal of Louisiana, and our favorite ninja, Wiley Paco Bendito Smith.
God, the titles this man has. I mean, Paco. I remember when he was like in Europe fighting, Vikings and jeez, that man. And of course, there's also our associate producers, John Zimmer, Anthony Machado, Crystal Litz, Jonathan Grouch, Lori Browse, and my good buddy Killer, and Sebastian Haff. Thank you to all you fine people. We're going to miss you. Some of them, though, are day drinkers. I do know that. So we'll still be in touch throughout the next 9 months, however long it is. As far as the BB mailbag goes, I did put out a notice last week. The Phil and Angie Barker did send in questions, but they are questions about Jackson and Nicole that we will be getting into as we go through our talk about the finale. So yeah, thanks for the questions. All right, let's get into what little that we have to talk about, really. I mean, the feeds, the last week of the feeds are always a bore. Nothing really goes on. I will say this, the couple did a good job of making sure that they hung out with the one single person, Nicole. The three of them pretty much all had fun together throughout those last few days, I would say.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, they slept a lot. They
slept a lot of rehashing that goes on every single year.
Nicole had fun playing with Jackson's head a little bit, and so it was.
And they did tie dyes one night. Okay. Yep. But a couple things to play though. There was a super late night conversation. It was Jackson and Holly, and it ended up being a fight. Probably their last fight in the house, actually. And these two clips, think about them when we get into the finale talk, actually. This is at 5 a.m.
When did they get their home videos?
They got them Sunday.
Okay, so they got them on Sunday. So it was after.
No. They got them before we did our show. They got them on Friday afternoon.
We never saw them, did we?
No,
they did. That's what I'm saying. We never saw the home videos. We're waiting. I wonder to see why. Well, Mama didn't smile. We know that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think, and I've said this to Mike, I think they were supposed to be shown that week before, but there was the whole Cliff Tommy thing that they gave 4 segments to.
Well, yeah, but they didn't get to see him though. Anyways,
right. And so they showed it to them in the house because they had them.
Yeah.
That's
right. Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So there's a late. I mean, Jackson was, first we got two clips from this conversation. First off, Jackson worrying about how he's being perceived outside of the house.
I'm not perfect. I'm far from.
I'm aware. I know. Because you've said that. I don't care about perfection. You know that.
But who I am and who I have been, two different things. There's been a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of dumb shit that I've learned from. Can I take back the things I've done? No.
I said, would you? Like you wouldn't take them back? I thought you said.
I said, can I take
Oh,
them back?
can you? I thought you said, would you?
Had a lot of scary situations. Been through a lot for do my best to learn from my mistakes and not make them twice. Mistake once is a lesson learned. A mistake twice is a lesson lost. And although I may be getting burned at the stake outside of here, what I've been for months, I know who I am and know who I'm not. I know the mistakes I've made. I know the mistakes I won't make again. There's a lot of things that I will need to talk to you about outside of this house. And what you do with it from there is up to you. But I am who I am. That's not perfect, but I mean well. And there's reasons behind everything that I've done. So there's nothing I wouldn't do for the people I love, the people I care about.
I took out a lot of dramatic pauses there. That was about a 5-minute conversation there.
That was really interesting. I'll bet, and we kind of know, what was he, like a pledge leader or something like that in his fraternity and stuff? Yeah, I'll bet there's a lot of stuff that's gone down in young Jackson's college life and stuff. But I think that this summer, I think maybe the lad grew up a little bit and can maybe now look back on stuff that he's done, especially now that he is under this microscope. So even if you hate Jackson to death, I have a feeling, you know what, from here on out, he's probably not going to do the stupid shit he did when he was 20 years old, 19 years, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't you think that this sort of, I feel like everybody sort of goes through this in your life where it's like, you've been acting like a dickhead or you've been acting like a total bitch or a spoiled brat or whatever. And there's just a time when you kind of grow up and you look back on it and you're like, God, what a moron I was. Or maybe something happens to make you sort of reflect on your actions. I feel like this summer was that for Jackson.
I think Jackson's, if for no other reason, the only time Jackson's, the issues that people have with Jackson came out is when he was kind of alone in it, on it with, it was behind closed doors kind of a thing. I don't mean, but I'm just saying the outside person that Jackson projects would, is completely different than what we saw. The stuff that he's been, hammered for by people is stuff that no one would have ever seen if we didn't have those cameras on 24/7. So I don't know if we'll know if he's changed, because I think his outside persona, which is all we're going to see from now on, is going to be an acceptable, saying the right kind of thing person. I hope he does.
How could you not, though? If you walk out, if all of a sudden and literally in 30 seconds you find out that maybe more than half the country hates you, like, how could you not?
Yeah.
Well, if he has a support structure, that tells him it's okay, you didn't do anything wrong. No, I'm just saying that's how he could not. Yeah. If he is being reinforced that he didn't do anything wrong, then maybe he won't.
I think this clip we just played shows him being like, he's saying right here, I did a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you about it.
You're just asking, how could he not? We'll get to it, but I'm just saying, if Mama tells him that he didn't do anything wrong, he might start to believe that. That's all I'm saying.
I think he'll get a more.
Oh, I think he will too. He's 24. He's got some growing up to do still. Yeah. I do think he will have a bit better outlook on things and kind of figure some stuff out. I think everybody has. I think even and again, I'm going to jump back and forth to post show and during show stuff. But in a couple of the interviews coming out, a couple of the people said, I've, even after having been out of the house, I think it was Bella was talking in an interview about having, I've been dealing with this for, even though I'm out of the house, I've been out of the house for 2 months. I've been dealing with this for 2 months.
Well, Bella was hated when she was evicted too. So
right,
she knows the ropes by now.
Right, and she did say in one of the interviews that I watched, she said, it's taken a lot of, I've had to grow, I had to understand a lot and do all this. So she was being straight up about it. So
I feel like probably for anybody on any reality show, if you don't come out and you're just lauded with accolades, or if like anybody criticizes you or post shit on your social media, this even includes like Real Housewives, people on The Bachelor, people on Survivor. I feel like everybody sort of goes through a month where you're just kind of like, you're mentally defeated and you do a lot of talking to yourself like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this? And I feel like once you get through it all and once you sort of get back to normal, I feel like maybe you're a better person in the end. At least I would hope so. I don't know.
Oh, well,
is that too optimistic?
You and I have talked quite a bit about how housewives that were like hated their first season. Camille Grammer.
Yeah.
Tried to completely reverse that the second season, usually unsuccessfully.
Failed. Yeah.
So
one other thought on this, because we don't look, our outline is very thin tonight because there's not a whole lot to talk about, but something that I don't see anywhere else in our outline that talk about, and something that I have been watching. This is kind of a leading up to the whole finale and everything. There was a conversation that has been passed around and clipped around of, there's been a couple of ones. One clip, because there's a lot of people hammering Jackson for different things. One clip is of Jackson saying, I had a final 2 offer from both of them kind of thing. And people are spinning that like it's the production that was telling him final 2. No, that was the thing with Cliff and Nicole. So just throw that clip out of your mind. Don't stop thinking it was conspiracy.
We've talked about it before but there are people that he says the sky is blue. They're going to be offended.
I know, but I just at least want to address it from our end. And there's another clip of Jackson where Jackson is talking to Nicole. This happened since our last podcast. He's shuffling cards. He's talking about how he's implying to Nicole.
Don't confuse those two.
No, I know. He's implying to Nicole that he's had talks with the diary room and they were making accommodations for him because he's so hated outside the house. That was total bullshit by Jackson. He was kind of throwing up there. Oh, I'm getting so much hate. There's no accommodations been made for Jackson. So stop thinking that production is coddling the guy.
They wouldn't have bum rushed him if that was the case.
Yeah, no, that's right. You're right. Exactly right. That's the thing. They wouldn't have treated him the way they kind of did.
Yeah, like why was CBS literally that entire show was let's make this guy the most evil person on the planet, and then at the same time I see tweets production totally wanted him to win. They have been doing.
Yeah, I have a comment about that coming up in a little bit too.
Yeah, I did.
Even talking about they hate the guy just like they hate Jack.
I didn't mean to jump on that at this point, but I'm just saying there was a couple of clips that are making the rounds out there that people are saying this is proof. This is proof. No, it's not proof. There's certain things that you can hold Jackson's feet to the fire and say, no, this actually happened. And there's other things that people are saying happened. It's like, no, that didn't happen. So those were a couple of them.
All right. Well, in the same conversation, this is a few minutes later, and we played a clip last week because they did see these videos Friday. And he was really upset by his mom's clip. Remember that? We played that last week. And he's still, this is still from Sunday night, Monday morning. This is Jackson talking about his parents.
My parents just looked like they did not want to make that video, but they had to. I was like, they wanted nothing to do with it. Didn't look like they were potentially about to have their son win big market second. Didn't look like they were excited. It was disappointing. And it just replays in my head. And it breaks my heart. That look that Nicole's family had, that was happiness. They were proud for her.
So I know there's a lot of background noise. What are you saying is my parents didn't look like they wanted to even do this video. And yet he saw Nicole's, and Nicole's was nothing but happiness and how proud they were. And so he's just like, are my parents, are they mad at me?
Right.
I just got I hadn't listened to that clip before. I just got a completely different impression now of Jackson and his parents. And we know something's going on there. We know that. And I've always had this theory that Jackson's mom was just like sort of this disciplinarian, but still at the same time, he really wants to please her. Now, after hearing that, I'm getting the impression that Jackson was probably a problem child all throughout school, maybe even like evicted from some boys or expelled from some boys' schools or whatever type of thing, always getting in trouble for fights, all this stuff. And then he probably thinks, oh, this is my one chance. This is my one chance to make him proud of me or to like do something good. And then he gets the video and it's not what he wanted or what he expected. And now he's like, oh, I still can't make up for all that shit I did when I was younger. That's so interesting to me. That's a new perspective that I never had considered.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I kind of got that from that clip.
You know what's also interesting? He always talks about his mom. But his dad is like a celebrated studio musician who's played on a ton of jazz and soul and country records.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's probably more laid back. So yeah, the mom's like in my family, my mom was the disciplinarian. My dad was more laid back. So I have a feeling, it's probably the case with him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or was he a studio musician only, or did he travel with bands and maybe he was on the road a lot?
He probably was on the road a lot. I know right now he does like some residency in some like, some piano bar.
Okay.
I mean, not to say he's like
wait, residency.
No, I mean, but he is. I mean, in Nashville, that's where he's from.
I know, but that's kind of funny. You say a residency in a piano bar.
I get it, but in Nashville, that's a big deal.
Yeah. So, I wasn't thinking Nashville. I was thinking you hear residency.
Where's the Memphis? Which is he from? Memphis or Nashville?
One of his parents was an artist.
Well, Nashville's would be the more the music city. That's
well, Memphis has got a pretty proud music city too, especially for soul and jazz. But I forgot which city he's from. It's one of those two.
Well, he went to school in Nashville, I think, but that doesn't mean he's from Nashville, so I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. But yeah, his dad's got a ton of videos on YouTube, by the way. It's interesting. I didn't know that until a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So like I said, there was not much going on, a lot of rehashing, but there was one rehash comment that I found hilarious. They're all sitting at the kitchen table. They're looking at the wall of pictures. They're talking about Jury House. They're kind of wondering what's going on. Into this.
Pat will probably get really fed up with somebody.
Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Depends.
She hated Nick.
She hated Nick.
Yeah.
She thought he was very disrespectful.
Yeah.
I like how my answer is the opposite for every single one. Them two, no, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Them two won't get along. Yes, they will.
Nope, she hated Nick.
She hated Nick and vocalized it to her and I on a daily basis.
I am not perceptive.
Well, she didn't act like she hated him.
She did the opposite.
She acted like they were great friends.
But she
could not stand him.
Wow.
She thinks he's incredibly disrespectful to women. The way he talks about their bodies and what they choose to do with their bodies, all that stuff.
As the song says, it's a thin line between love and hate.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Colette found it amusing.
No, I'm just listening because it's. We'll get to the Nick and Kat stuff in a minute. You know. What I mean?
Sure, but it still made me laugh. So yes, Wednesday morning, the feast finally went down. It was at 10 a.m. Big Brother time. They all had their little moments where they talked to the camera. Which Nicole does all the time anyway. But I mean, but the funny thing was, Holly went on like a 15-minute speech.
She did that a lot.
Oh my god! It's like she was like on the Miss Montana,
Wyoming. No, Wyoming.
It's like she was on the Miss Wyoming stage. Giving her finale speech, and it was funny because they all knew it was coming. They all knew the end was coming. So she's giving her a little speech. She is still giving it as it hit 10 o'clock. And this is the official end of the feeds.
And I will put up one heck of a fight. But man, I'm nervous. Okay, I'm going to go out here and say goodbye to the feeds with my other friends.
Family, I love you so much. So much, so much, so much. Friends.
So they didn't get to do their pre-planned goodbye to the feeds.
Oh no!
Because they always do. They know when the feeds are going down. They always the final three gather around, say goodbye. They
actually cut him off.
They didn't get to do
the hell, man. They had to push the button. Think about that. There's Button Boy somewhere, and he's actually saying, you know what? Nah, just push the button. I'm sick of him. I'm done.
You couldn't give them 30 more seconds.
No.
Oh, funny. All right. Well, now we're going to start talking about the finale. And unlike usual finales, usually it starts with, well, I mean, we already saw the end of part one, so they couldn't, they weren't going to show the end of first HOH. They usually show then the second HOH. No, this immediately started with the jury stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? Before you talk about the finale, just to step back a half a step on Sunday's show, that was done differently. They did not do the brunch thing.
No, and I had read that they had spent like 2 hours each in the DR earlier that week.
But that's why they did it. They had them each kind of summarizing their own game.
Yeah.
Because they did.
And actually, I did. Usually, I don't watch the brunch episode, but it's because it wasn't brunch and they had a comp. I did watch this time. I did fast forward through those sections though, because it was 5 minutes of Jackson, 5 minutes of Nicole, 5 minutes of Holly.
Right.
That was easy to hit the low. I did watch the cry thing. That's always kind of funny.
Yeah.
I did like that they included Annalise asking what an adjective is.
Yes.
That was CBS throwing some shade.
Yes.
So yeah, we started with Dr. Will and the jury, and I did love it when the entire jury laughed at Cliff, thinking, well, I thought Jackson would keep me over Holly because we have a final two deal.
And his face was like, oh, maybe I have been silly. Like, I felt like it sort of dawned on him what a dummy has been a little bit, right?
Yeah. 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 I mean, Cliff walked out. Cliff got as far in the game as he was going to get. He didn't get quite far enough to win America's favorite player, but yeah, I have to be honest. The jury questioning, I was like, what are they going to do? How are they going to talk about? What are they going to say that's going to make you think that Holly or Nicole actually stand a chance at winning this? And I didn't see a whole lot.
Well, Cliff tried. Cliff's like, well, I thought a handshake was a handshake. Like, she tried to do his thing. I was taking him at his word.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just sitting there like, whatever. Cliff.
You old fool.
They're just looking at him like they don't even take him seriously, which I thought was funny because remember his threats in the house. Well, I'm going to turn the whole jury against you, Jackson. Yeah, right.
And Annalise was she just seemed quite the attitude. Like, I'm all about. I was like, you didn't do well at all in Big. How can you judge the people that are still in the house?
Not like just a 15-year-old little snotty bitch.
Yes.
And the whole jury, like, if you mentioned a girl, oh my God, no, that girl, no, I hate her. She didn't play. Or like a guy that like looked at her side, oh my God, what a jerk. No, like I felt like I was watching a preteen who like just got her period. Like she was such a brat. And I liked watching Dr. Will looking at her. That's because he's just like, oh. Oh, that's like, okay. All right. My next question is, and she's like, no, but I just want to say that, and then, like, she was such a bratty little twat. It made me so mad because she was the one girl I really, really wanted to like before the season started. I was like, she's fit. She's an athlete. She's super pretty. I was like, I know I'm going to like her. This is going to be my badass bitch I can root for. And then literally the second she stepped in the house, I was like, oh, well, there goes that pipe dream. No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she was just such a little twit during this segment. And I thought that she came off so bad and so embarrassing.
Yeah. There were some great reaction shot edits there. I mean, the shade. I mean, there was at Annalise at one point, and there was another one where they were criticizing Jax as an HOH, saying that he only went after middle level people, and then the camera went to Jessica.
Yes.
Really?
Oh yes. Yes. Yeah, I screen capped that. That was like, oh wow. That was so. Yeah, no, she said no. Kat said bottom feeders.
No, she said middle. I thought she said middle level. Okay.
I know. Bottom feeders is ringing a bell to me. Yeah.
Exactly
Oh,
what
God.
she said. And it was like, because I'm watching it on the TV, but I'm watching the stream. I was capturing the pictures on my computer, and the computer stream was about a minute behind. So I had to deliberately wait for Kat to say bottom feeders, because I knew I was only going to millisecond where I was going to see her Natalie or Jessica's face. Like, what? Yeah. Really?
But that is an interesting thing to bring up, because actually that sort of goes into later when the two make their pitches for, why they played the game that they did. And Holly, which I thought was, and I know we're not going to go too deep into this when we get to this, so I'm going to say it now. Holly, when she gave her speech, she's like, oh, well, Jackson, he would go after people that would disarm people. And I was like, you're giving him credit right here, buddy.
Yeah.
You're like totally. And Jackson even said, he's like, look, I didn't want to go after the big target. Even though at home we're like, get out, Christy, or get out someone huge. Why are you getting out, sis? But look, it won the guy $500,000. So clearly he did something right, getting out who he did in the order he did it in.
And I had no issue with him getting out Jessica.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I mean, shit, he could have done that week 1 and I would have celebrated all season long. But no, so I thought it was interesting that was a point that Kat was making here, and as a joke, and we all laughed at it and whatever, but it actually turned out that no, it was kind of part of his game plan. And what did he say? I think he said his dad advised him, always keep in a bigger target than you. He quoted his dad in his speech, always keep in a bigger target than you. And that's what he did up until the end. And look, it worked. It worked because he won.
Yep. I mean, otherwise the jury footage was the typical heavily edited nonsense to make us think that any of those three had a chance to win. So then we were shown part 2 of the comp. It was called Foggy Memory. It was a day's competition. You had to take the correct day numbers and climb this little tree or this little cloud and put them on the right day. Both of them initially had one wrong that they had to go fix. But what wasn't shown that Nicole talked about is something happened during that comp.
We're all leaving the same day. We're all leaving on Wednesday.
Scott, this is the wrong
my
clip.
hat, my little
Morning,
bundle,
Scott, wrong
and the
clip.
stool.
This is the clip you got of it, though.
Nope.
While you have the stool, you're
You said Nicole says she fucked herself.
Yeah. If you want to play it, you can play it here. That's fine. We might as well play it now, but this is not about the competition where she blacked out.
Oh, well, that's what I thought you had. Okay, you said that was the clip you were getting, and I thought that was the clip you had. Okay, but apparently she had a panic attack during the comp.
Yes,
and later talked about how, but there was a conversation about CO2, and so a lot of people were saying that the fog was CO2. No, what I later read that when you have a fear-based panic attack, they use CO2 to kind of bring you back. I'm no doctor, but that's what I read.
Oh, I thought you heard someone say something, but it does make sense. Yeah, she said she had a CO2, but she said she had a blackout. But whatever, it didn't. I'm curious on how they accounted for that in the timing. But
okay,
if she had a panic attack, whatever.
Well, they would have paused it if that was the case.
Yeah, they would have stopped everything. Remember when Zingbot didn't Zingbot fate once?
I'm not claiming conspiracy here. I'm just seriously curious. Nicole's running across the mat. She suddenly flops on her face. Do they stop the stopwatch, recover? Okay, you okay? Okay, now start running again. There's no way in hell she was going to win that.
Imagine if that had been Jackson.
And that is that is not to say that it was unfair to Nicole. There's no unfairness.
I have something to say here about that in a second.
Okay,
because Holly's time ended up being 10:38. Nicole's was 14:38. So Holly won.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
So what I had read all week long from people who first had not seen the first HOH comp yet. And then the second HOH comp, CBS is unfair. They purposely are putting comps that Nicole can't win. They don't want her to win. Where did she fuck up in that first comp? The puzzle. She's the puzzle girl.
Yeah.
She was pretty much even with the other. She was a little behind, but she was even with the other two when they got to her strong spot, where she completely fucked up and got way behind the other two.
But she was never gonna. She
was not gonna win that.
No, but at the end of our episode last week, what did we have? We had Mike saying, "Oh, it looks like it's going to be a memory comp. Holly's going to be bad at that. That's totally Nicole's win to win."
So
like,
let me.
Mike was saying that last week about the second part.
Let me get to that. So we have the second part that we had not seen until they showed it Wednesday. And after Nicole lost, all the internet was, see, they had a physical comp for part 2. It was so unfair to Nicole. How dare they? There wasn't a lot of physical to it. They had to climb a little tree. Who is the person that was studying days every single day of the summer?
But wait, a physical and
No,
climbing.
listen
Did
to us.
Nicole win BB Comics?
Right. But hear me out here. Who was the one that studied days every single day of the summer? It wasn't Holly.
Right.
Holly, I never saw her look at days.
No, like I said, even our very own Mike said, she says she doesn't seem, right? Mike, I mean, I don't want to speak for it, but you said that last week at the end of the episode. You said, I don't know how Holly's going to do on this. It looks like Nicole has a chance. Nicole's going to win this.
And I thought she did.
Yeah.
I thought she would have a chance.
I did too.
Right.
I was scared shitless Nicole was going to win that comp.
And that's why I don't know what part this. I'm not making excuses for Nicole. I don't know what part her panicking and passing out and all this crap, how they have factored that in the time. But I don't care. Nicole didn't win it.
We're not talking about that. No, we're talking about how
how
the fans are saying it was geared against Nicole to begin with. Or like
part
that it was
3?
because they made it physical. That's what we're talking about, fans being idiots, not you. We're talking about fans.
That's a given. not
I'm
you.
saying I read on the internet all week long how unfair it was. And this was like, there could have been 5 facts about Nicole. And if Nicole had lost, it would have been unfair.
I don't look at anything as unfair. My attitude is these comps are always generally somewhat, even comp 2 is somewhat physical.
Yes.
With a bit of memory. They're usually running back and forth to put things on or maybe climbing a wall. I don't have a problem with it. For people that say that, this isn't fair to people that aren't as in good physical shape as others, well, then you need to win the game in a different way. You need to play the smart game, and you shouldn't have to win the physical. You can be like Derek, and you can convince somebody who should not take you to the finals. Derek didn't win the final competition. He still got to the finals. Nicole had to have played her game differently, and she didn't.
Yeah. So anyway, that was all I wanted to say is this was the comp that Nicole should have won. And she didn't.
We thought we should.
And I have another comment about this thing. I think. Wait a minute. Where are we on the outline? Just want to double check because I do have another comment that's going to come. I think it's in Holly's.
Speech.
Yeah, and Holly's Holly's speech. Yeah. I'll get to that.
Okay, one last thing. And because I saw it in chat just now, and I did see this online. So Holly in her thing said she's never climbed a rock wall before. She's got a picture on her Instagram or something of her climbing a rock wall at her hometown or something. She's climbed.
That's
rock
hilarious.
She was bullshit when she said that, but that's fine. It's fine to lie about that stuff. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That actually makes me happy that she did that. That was a good move.
Yeah, she said I've never climbed. Yeah, she has, but that's fine. So, anyways, kind of funny.
So they showed a little bit of campaigning footage. I thought it was interesting. They only showed Holly and Nicole talking. And Nicole had that same conversation with Jackson too. I don't know why they didn't show both.
Time maybe. I didn't. I was waiting for the next conversation to come up, and it never did. It's like, okay, now it's time to do. Yeah, that's it. So
yeah.
So I'm guessing for time because they once again
the show is so compressed.
Yes.
And then it was finally time for the part 3 of the HOH comp live, Jackson versus Holly. and it was called The Jury Is Out. It's a variation of something we see every year. Each juror has 3 statements. They must pick out which one was false.
No, this is a new thing.
This is different.
Relatively new.
This
this started with
a variation
Shannon from Celebrity Big Brother. That season that Shannon was on was the first time we saw this, and then now we've seen it. I think that's the first time that they did this comp was in Celebrity Big Brother 1, because I remember Shannon Elizabeth when we did our interview with her, she had to go film her bit where she has to like fake she's doing something. I think they were talking on the phone for the Celebrity Big Brother, whereas here they were like writing letters home. I remember when
but it's always a jury comment thing.
Well, it was a jury comment, but before it's been like, this is what they would say. This is how they would answer A or B. And it took a little bit of a social, you had to know the person a little bit, which is why we thought, some of us at least, thought if Nicole gets to that point, she might know the house guests better than Jackson or Holly, because maybe Jackson and Holly spent too much time together and she would know them better how they would react. And this one was more of a crapshoot. Well, this one was if you knew what happened in the house. Yeah, it was fact-based. If you knew what happened, and they were all really pretty.
They were really easy. Even I got them all.
Yeah, like they were getting them right. I was like, holy shit! They would answer them before even Julie would say.
I thought they were talking to each other. I wondered if they were just.
No. I mean, did you see the set? How far apart?
Yeah, I saw that later on. Yes, but in the camera, it was side by side for a lot of it. I didn't realize how far apart they were until they did a wide shot. So yeah.
And so Jackson got them all right. Holly missed one, which she said that she misheard the question, which was what we played the clip last week of Jackson say, make sure you listen to the instructions.
She was getting, after that, she started to get melodramatic too. Like after she missed that one, anytime she's like, oh God, do I switch it? Oh God, do I change it? Like I was watching her when she would decide on her answers and she started to get super extra.
And she, of course, had to throw that into her final plea about how she misheard that question. Jackson was the final HOH winner, 8-7, and so then they did the final plea nonsense, and that's where Holly said that wants to duke it out with him for the win. Nicole was like, "I respect whatever Jackson decides." She knew what was up there, and no shock, Jackson evicts Nicole.
Yep. And Nicole, this is the clip that that you were starting to play, and this is Nicole in this clip talks about how she was going to exit the house, and that's what this is about, which is kind of fun.
We're all leaving the same day. We're all leaving on Wednesday.
My hat, my little bundle, and the stool. And they'll say, Nicole, why do you have the stool? You're alone. And I'll say, well, you know why, Julie? Because I fucked myself.
Oh.
Okay, now I see why you wanted that play there.
Yes,
I misunderstood what the clip was.
That's all right. I think we can talk. Yeah, I didn't get the clip you thought of. I meant to, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. That was
okay.
Yes, she screwed herself.
So Nicole was evicted, and I have to say, even though I'm no Nicole fan, I've kind of grown to like her a little bit more than I did the first 8 weeks of the season. It was touching when Julie was interviewing her and she saw her family.
Yeah.
Mike, I can't believe you did that. That's so rude.
Wow. Heartstrings. She catches her breath.
I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
This girl, okay, yeah, she's going to be, everybody loves her on the internet, blah, blah, blah. I will say this. She walked into the place with absolutely zero confidence, poor self-esteem.
Yeah.
She walked out a much more mature person than she walked in.
Yeah. Hey, the biggest problem for Nicole is her fans.
Oh God, yeah.
Thank you so much for saying. And you know what? And I feel like that is 50% of my hate of her is
I know
just
that
because I like
70%.
because her fans are so obnoxious and they drive me so crazy and they're mean and they're bullies and they're horrible and terrible. And people are like, why do you hate her so much? And someone asked me this the other night and I was like, you know what? A lot of it is because I just want to piss off their stupid fans at this point because I'm sick of them. I'm sick of those assholes.
Yes, yeah. I like I said, I grown to like her.
Faults, Nicole's fans.
Once she started playing the game, which was like September 1st. I didn't mind her. I did, she.
I'm personally not going to go that far, but I just will say a lot of my hate for her is because of her fan base.
Yes, and the perfect example of that was what we talked about a few minutes ago with the whole because Nicole lost those comps, even though you hadn't watched them yet. They obviously were geared not for her to win, when actually she should have won a day's comp. There's no excuse for her to lose a day's comp.
Nope, she should have. Yep, definitely.
All right. Well, then we had a little segment of jury questions. You guys take it away because I need to refill.
I don't know. I did not. I don't have the exact questions, but I did actually, and we can talk about this in a second. But just I went back and timed the answers on how long Jackson and Holly answered each question.
Back.
Yes, I did. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, Colette, I took that time. Drives you crazy. But let's not talk about that yet. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain it to you why. But the very first question, Cliff asked Jackson a question. Actually, it was the second question. That was the one that I remember specifically. Tommy asked Jackson about. He said some of the women in the house or some of the women in the jury had a problem with the way you treated them, and to me, it felt like it was a loaded question. I really don't think that these house guests came up with. They only got to ask 3 questions.
Yeah,
I
agree with
really
you.
think production handed them the questions to ask because they were so slanted. That was when you started to go like, oh, this is going to go weird.
Yep.
This isn't going to be. This isn't what I thought. This is why are they saying some of the women in the house thought you treated them poorly? Because they really didn't all. Jackson went annoyed, but they didn't say Jackson treats me poorly. It really felt like
we never saw anybody doing that in the jury house. Like, can you believe how poorly Jackson treated? No one ever said that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, and look, I'll say, I feel like the women that maybe he treated poorly was Holly, and then maybe Kat, but also Kat went psycho and kind of deserved it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like. Those are the two he treated poorly.
Holly
he
definitely
loved
treated
Nicole. He was like enamored with Nicole, and he said, I heard couple of his post interviews, like he like really is like desperately wants Nicole to be his little sister because he's an only child. Like he loves Nicole, and so I don't know.
So all right, so the questions seemed kind of loaded. Jessica or Jackson would stick to his line. Jackson had his mantra. He had his set rehearsed lines and he would say them back. As a matter of fact, we didn't play this clip, not that we need to, but Jackson rehearsed his speech to Holly the day before, and it was almost verbatim of what his final speech was. He had it down pat. So he would pivot his answers a little bit and tune them to whatever the questions were. So Jackson was very quick. Holly stuttered and stammered. She did exactly what I would do if I was in the final two standing next to somebody. I would get lost in my thoughts, get sidetracked, go and ah, and Julie would have to tell me to stop.
Yeah.
And
every time she talked, Julie would have to tell her to stop.
Holly every time to stop, and people were getting mad on the Twitterverse saying Julie keeps cutting Holly off. So, Colette, this is why I went back and I went and timed every answer that each of them gave and their final
you're
pleas.
a nerd.
No. I am a nerd. So, anyways, point is I won't even give you all the individual numbers because it'll annoy you. But let's put it this way. Holly, in every case, went at least 10 to 15 seconds longer than Jackson. And in the final speech, she went an extra 30 seconds past Jackson. Jackson's final speech, 57 seconds long. Holly's was a minute 25. So Holly got lots of extra time. She just sucked at answering questions.
And she did that all through the
season. People were blaming CBS, sort of implying that they were favoring Jackson.
Right, they were cutting Holly off from Jackson.
CBS has a lot of time for everybody, and they're like, "Look, we got to get both these speeches done in this amount of time, so we can move on to the next segment." And oh my god!
So So my little timing thing, Colette, worked out for your boy. That's my point.
That's not why I said that, but okay, good.
I'm giving you our ammo for your argument when people say that they were unfair to Holly.
I didn't know people said that, but that's...
Oh, they were
cheating. I didn't know people said that either.
Again, is the sky blue or green? Depends on how Jackson answers that question.
That's not what Jackson feels that day.
Right.
So did you guys talk about the final plea too while I went? That's part
Just
of
the
that,
time
though.
right there. I said he had it memorized. He spewed it out. I didn't go to details. I mean, his final plea was just rapid fire, boom, boom. Matter of fact, what was good about his final plea, even if it wasn't completely accurate, the things he said, because some of them weren't exactly accurate, it's just so much information, and it sounded so crisp and precise that it was like, wow, he's on point. He's got it all.
You have to prepare. And like, even when we do the show, if I don't prepare something, like if I know we're going to talk about a topic, and you know me, I can do this. I can go on and on and on and on.
No, God, yes, we do.
I don't have Julie shutting me up. So no, you have to prepare. And it's good that he did it, because Holly looked a little dim-witted for not doing it.
Guess who prepares for this show and writes things down, and guess who doesn't?
Yes.
I don't know.
And Howie's speech was ridiculous. The whole, I've been underestimated since I walked in the house. People didn't know I was smart. I'm really, because I'm from Wyoming. People from Wyoming can't be smart, but I'm smart.
Oh, this is what I do. Oh, wait, where did I did prepare something about this. Oh, no, it was something about Holly talking about, no, because okay, so I was stunned that Holly knew the days so well of that comp with the memory comp where we all
so
thought
was
that
America
Nicole was going to win. Yeah, and I even said that I was worried that Nicole was going to win that. So when Holly says in her speech, she said that she downplayed the mental comps and that she didn't want to let on about what good memory she was and how educated she was or how smart she was, and had she said that before I saw her in the memory comp, I would have been like, oh, she's full of shit. But now I'm wondering, oh, because she knew all the days that none of us thought she would ever know.
Yeah.
We all thought, even me, who loves Holly way more than Nicole, even I thought there was no chance she was winning that competition against Nicole. And then she knocked it out of the park, and she wins, and she knows everything. So I was like, oh, okay, if she really did do that on purpose, if she really did sort of dumb down that she does have a good memory, or that she can do the mental stuff, and she didn't need to win those comps, and I was like, oh, that's actually a really smart game move if she did that. If it's for real, and if it's legit, and all I have to go on is that memory comp, and I makes sense, right? I mean, 2 and 2 make 4 in that instance. Yeah, I have to give her credit for that. I thought that was a good move, because she shocked everyone.
Honestly, though, as far as final pleas go, does she really have a chance against a person who could sell a 1979 Hyundai that's missing a back door?
I'm just talking about her winning it.
I know.
Let's not make a joke, though. You want to make his joke.
Oh, is that what he was doing?
That was his doing. Yeah. I think also Holly, I said it early, she had a good middle game. She saved Jackson's ass. She should have stuck with that. I saved Jackson's ass when it was on the line, when the 6 was getting broken up. She was the one that did that, and she kind of implied that she worked in the background and helped Jackson.
Kept pulling him back, dragging my heel.
Yeah, she made a joke. She made a really funny joke about, like, I had to kind of keep him in line, and the whole jury laughed at that.
Right.
It was actually a good thing she said.
She is just not as good as Jackson was at presenting her case. And I think she should have done her diary rooms more differently than she did. She should have said, look, guys, I'm coming across one way, but know this, I'm actually playing a much more strategic game. What you saw of me in the house was not the true me. She should have been laying that foundation the entire time. If that's what she was, if that's the
I've always wanted somebody to do that, where they're like, they act one way in the house, and then they go in the... Okay, who?
Danielle Reyes. That was her name.
Well, season 3.
Season 3, and they.
I mean, I don't remember that, but I mean,
did it, and they created the sequester because she did it so well. And I wish somebody would. You're right. I wish somebody would do that.
Yeah, and I always think, like, and I would never go in the house, but if I would totally 100% act one way to everybody, and then I go in the dining room and I'd be like, these stupid bitches. Like, I just know that that's what I would be like, and I want someone else to do that, and I never see that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would love to see that again. So then voting started, and because of mainly Holly running along. Julie's like, all right, put a hustle on your step. None of them said none of them said anything remarkable during their voting except Kat.
Good.
Well. If it ain't the conspiring bitches, I still love her. I don't care that she's fucking stupid dick.
She probably isn't anymore. So
no, I actually looked at her Twitter. I think she's seen enough people bitching about Nick. But before we could find out who won, we had a pound of flesh that we needed to get out of these people. I actually went against what I've said before. I kind of wanted Soggy to come back and hog that segment because it was very uncomfortable, and I know that the Twitterverse loved every second of it. First off, Ovi was asked about the night Nicole was locked out of the HOH, and it turned into a bullying segment. Yeah. She wasn't bullied. Sorry, she wasn't bullied.
Did he say bullying though?
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I think maybe if Julie said it, Ovi picked up on it and expanded on it.
Yes,
but they did use the word bullying.
Julie threw out, was that bullying?
Julie said some people have seen it. Right. Julie's the one who said the word. Ovi didn't, for what it's worth. Ovi was very passionate in his plea. I thought he was going to break down and cry. I don't know if I should do an Ovi voice right now or not.
We need Droopy Dog to be like, oh, but I always stand up for the underdog.
Mike, say that.
Oh, I always stand up for the underdog. How's that?
Yeah, but the thing about Nicole getting locked out of the room, it's not bullying. And I know it's a favorite buzzword of the cancel culture, but it's not applicable in this instance at all. An alliance was having a meeting. Nicole wanted to join them. Nicole is not in said alliance, so they tell her to come back later. Like, in no way is that bullying. Had they dragged her in the room, sat her in a chair and berated her and belittled her and made fun of her for never playing the game all season long or ever bothering to join an alliance or ever bothering to win a competition, then yes, that would have been bullying. But that's not what happened. And Ovi, I'm not done. And Ovi, trying to act all Christ-like. I'm just looking out for the people in need. Had me rolling my eyes because, if Ovi was in that alliance and a part of that meeting, he wouldn't have said a goddamn thing.
And actually, the person that should have been asked about that, the person who acted the worst to Nicole in that whole thing and the aftermath, Bella.
I'd just like to say that if I would have invited Nick. I would have invited Nicole into the room. I just want to be
Go make some more cookies.
All right.
So then Kimmy was asked about watching from home, and she responds by asking Jackson, Jack, Christy, and Nick about their supposed obsession with her. Nick was never actually asked to respond. I thought of all the people that did respond, the person who came off the worst was fucking Christy and her. I don't know what you're talking about. It might have been my hormones.
Yeah, she should have said that. The hormones line was bad.
No, Nick only got asked because
we got that coming up.
Something else.
We got that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But okay. So do you? Because I have stuff to say about this Kimmy thing.
Go for it.
So, So what Kimmy did say though, after they asked everybody, like, you were mean to her, you were mean to her, you were mean to her, right? And they're all just like, oh, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but all right, I'm sorry, And then Kimmy said, well, they should know what they're apologizing for. Kimmy said this herself. She's like, because Julie's like, okay, do you accept their apologies? And Kimmy says, well, I don't think that they really should be apologizing unless they know what they're apologizing for.
Right.
And I 100% agree with her because it reiterates how absolutely inappropriate this entire segment was. You can't call out people for specific behavior that happened maybe 2 months ago that they actually had no idea was like bad. They never saw it. And then here you are holding their feet to the fire on live TV in a highly anxious, all emotions are on edge. You're competing for all this money and everyone's brought out to, parade themselves or whatever. And then you have fucking Julie Chen, Moonves, being like, we need an explanation for all of these accusations. What are you gonna say now? Like, it was such an ambush.
Yep.
And look, if you're gonna be accused of something, you have to have some idea of what the hell you're being accused for. And these people, they had zero idea, zero ability to be prepared. Jack and Christy, they've been living in Malibu on the beach this entire time. Jackson, he's been busy playing a game. They have no idea, because maybe once they gave Kemi a side eye, or once, they said something to her like in the kitchen, that it turned into this huge thing on Twitter where now everyone's a racist. They had no idea. And then so for them to bring it up here on live TV and be like, demand answers, they were all clueless. Like, imagine you're living on an island in the middle of the ocean with no technology. And then you land at the airport 3 months later, you get off the plane, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by TV cameras with a microphone stuck in your face, 20 of them. And some ridiculous woman is asking you why you didn't share your coconut on day 15 with the black girl. You know what? Like, you'd be like a deer in headlights, being like utterly confused, not understanding what the hell is going on, and unsure like how to answer it, because you don't have the information that everybody else has. So you have no idea. I'm not done. I actually thought Jack came across the most genuine in his replies and his apologies. Like, he didn't try to defend himself or anything. And I think he's smart enough to know that in a situation like this on live TV, it's just best to let the other person think that they're right and get it over with.
It was
Jackson,
Jack's second trip.
Yeah, because he had already gone through it once. Jackson was in a different position, because Jack, at least, like you just said, Mike, at least he kind of had a heads up from his eviction, and when he was ambushed himself back then. Whereas Jackson, he just finished trying to convince a jury to give him $500,000. He's feeling pretty good. He thinks he's knocked this game out of the park, and he thought he's gotten his job done. And then, boom, you said such and such, and so, explain it now. Like, that was so unfair, and it was so ridiculous. And it gave me an immense sense of satisfaction to have, after all of this, and Kemi sitting there looking very smug, but still at the end of it, she goes, well, I do think they need to know what they're apologizing for. And I was like, exactly, Kemi, thank you.
There's one other thing that I want to bring up in this.
Oh, okay.
This is something kind of buried. Oh, then I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to jump ahead.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to jump in front of you.
I was coughing and I muted. No, all I was trying to say.
This is why we need live feeds from the moment that they walked in, because when it comes to the cooking thing, remember how that was like the whole reason some of those people did not like Kemi?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the comment that Kemi made, she called Jack and Jackson crackers.
Or she said they were the good old boys, and like, anybody would get mad at that.
Did Jack or Jackson say that, or someone?
No, Kemi said that about Jack and Jackson, like, oh, they're the good old boy. I didn't know the cracker thing, but that's what Scott just. Jackson said, oh, you called us the good old boys, or something like that, which sort of implied, good old.
Let me jump back to what I was trying to say while you were talking. All I was going to say was, you, Colette, are saying this is productions. They screwed over the cast.
Yeah.
Right. You were that whole time you're saying, maybe Christie's response wasn't very good. Jack had his response, but they were all blindsided by this and ambushed by this, and it was unfair production. You weren't taking Kemi's side on it. You weren't taking their side. You're saying this is production throwing the entire cast.
I'm not taking anybody's side. I
know. I know that, but some people listening. People listening may have misunderstood that you were really big.
So I'm just assuming you were looking at chat or whatever. But I think everybody.
I'm not looking at chat. This is my sense of what people might think.
Okay. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that these people, if you say something in the moment and nobody in that moment says anything to you, and then you find out 3 months later that a flippant comment you made was suddenly this huge deal that you're being crucified for on Twitter, you're going to be like, wait, what?
I don't remember saying.
Even if somebody said something to Kemi in the house, she never said, hey, this is inappropriate, let's talk about this, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't even said to her in the so it's like a surprise to them. Yeah, because they have no idea. Nobody have no idea.
Now I have one other question. Do we have somebody saying that Kemi called someone cracker in the house? Did one of the house guests
Well, that's
say
why I
that?
said we need footage. We need the feeds to go on right away because
You know
there's.
what I'm saying? But
where did you hear that?
But people are thinking that you have some source in the house that said afterwards because Kemi called them a cracker.
Good old boys. Maybe I missed. Okay.
I'm just. You got to be careful. It'll be the next rumor. Well, the Big Brother Gossip Show says that you did this. It's like, no, I never did that. That's all. I was trying to be.
I heard Jackson say we were all in the kitchen, and Kemi said, "Oh, those are the two good old boys," or something like that.
I was not aware that was a slur. So either way, I want to. Can we go step back a little bit from this to the whole? Why did CBS decide to do this? Is this the
pound of flesh? PR.
They knew that Jackson was going to win, and so their way to offset it a little bit was by just throwing this entire cast to
You
the
might as well
wolves.
throw out the next question, which was Julie's about the camp picks.
Okay, well, wait. I mean, I have a whole thing. I mean, it's two separate things, though, because I do want to talk about that. So, but I do think Mike brings up a relevant point. So I don't want to skip over Mike's question.
Well, that question also goes. It goes with Julie's the next step as well. But either way, you can if there's something you want to address.
Okay, so Scott, do you want to introduce this thing about the?
Yeah, because it wasn't so and so pre-jury. You asked this question or this question. You know, it was Julie was the one that said, "Okay, Jackson, when you were camp counselor, some people have been saying." That
people are saying,
people are saying that's a Fox News thing. People are saying that the fact that his camp counselor people that he put up was Cliff, Jessica, David, and then Kemi. And so and she said people are viewing that. Well, I don't have the exact clip.
No.
She said three minorities and the oldest person in the house.
Yes.
Yeah, and then so Jackson's face was priceless because it was exactly my face at home when I heard that people were trying to spin it into something racist. Because Jackson very clearly said, "Oh, I'm picking the people who also were trying to compete against me and the one person who didn't even bother to approach me and fight for herself." So, and his look was like, and it was funny because there was a smile to his look was like, "You've got to be shitting me. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Right. And then later he said, "Look, I'm not a racist." And I actually think that probably hurt him because I feel like that sort of faction of Twitter, if ever anyone says, "Well, I'm really not a racist," they're going to be like, "Yes, you are, because you said that you are." You know what I mean? Like they attach onto that. But look, we all saw Kemi in those camp comeback episodes saying over and over again that she refused to go talk to Jackson. She said it herself.
She didn't need to. She was safe.
Yeah, she didn't need to. She didn't want to. She wasn't going to do it. And when you hardly know anyone in the house, you have to nominate them for like literally the teeny tiniest reasons that first week. You have to, and we've seen this before with every cast. It's like, I don't even know these people enough not to, to nominate them. I mean, I guess I'll nominate this one because they didn't say hi to me. Like you have to look for the dumbest reasons to nominate people. And so Kemi, being the only person not to approach Jackson and make the pitch, was the dumbest move she could have made. Her unwillingness cost her the game. What a waste. You go through all that preparation. It's probably months for casting and interviews, and then you have to go make sure that your life is taken care of for an entire summer. Is someone going to watch your dog? Is your electric bill paid? Is someone going to, contact your landlord, make sure everything's okay? Do you have a roommate? And who's going to get your mail? You have to worry about all that. You go through all of that preparation to potentially be gone for 3 months. And then you get in the house and all you have to do is go up to this dude and say, "Hey, maybe we can work together. Hey, maybe let's form an alliance. I'm really
let's
good.
not forget Jackson had an alliance of 12,000 people.
Or I'm really good, or I work out a lot because Kemi's fit, and I do believe she was working out. And now all she had to do was do that and go talk to the person in charge. I don't care what color your skin is. That was the dumbest fucking move anybody in the house could have made, was to just not go up to Jackson and do something in that first week. And we saw her sit with an attitude in the time and be like, I don't have to. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to go talk to him. I'm not going to talk to him. She said that. I'm not going to go talk to him. And she sneered when she said it. So here we are, and Julie's trying to turn it into a race thing. No, when it's literally just a dumbass move.
Okay, so David was actually asked how he felt about it. And if you recall, David was like, well, at first I kind of thought so, but then later on, I didn't. David finished off saying he didn't think Jackson was nominated him or banished him out of a racial thing. And if you remember what we played weeks ago when David was back in the house with, as Camp Comeback, they had a room in the boat room. They're having a conversation, and Sam tells a story about how, well, I thought David was walking around with a book, but it wasn't David. It was a different guy.
Yes, that's true. That's
David was total. The whole reason they wanted to get him out was because Sam had said that David was walking around with a book about leadership, and it turned out it wasn't David.
Yeah.
So, David was like, no, I don't think it was racial. So there was that. He
was one of the three that. We said in the second episode of the season that the nominations were the three people that did volunteer to be camp counselors. Because it's like, well, that's the easy one. That's the easy. These people did volunteer to do the same thing I did.
Jackson said that he looked at that as people that were similar to him, that wanted to be leaders and that were go-getters. He's like, I saw traits of myself.
Wait, one of those was
them,
Jessica.
Really?
And I knew that was dangerous. That was the reason.
Yeah. So it was silly.
So this is why this finale episode and the way CBS framed it, and fucking Julie doing it the way that they did, makes me so mad, because you even have the two black people in the cast. One is like, they don't even know what they're apologizing for, and then the other one is saying, no, I actually don't think it's racial.
Yeah, it was just
So
weird.
you even have the two people that should complain out of all the people in the world, and this is not some frustrated white mom sitting at home. It's always this, and I see because I see it in the knitting community. And I mentioned it before. There's this stuff that goes on in the knitting community about women of color who are knitting, and I swear to God, 99% of the people that do the bitching are the white women, and I feel like we have this here, the exact same thing, and it's like. I remember when Black Lives Matters was first coming out. I remember reading an article on Huffington Post that a black woman wrote, and she's like, look, white people, we actually don't need you. We're good. We got this covered. And I was like, yeah, they're the ones dealing with this. Let them defend them. Let them do it. Let them, because this is their fight. It's not ours. It's not a white girl's thing to do. Just so stupid. It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad that people are destroyed over this, when the people that are like fighting for this one cause aren't even the victims of the cause that they're fighting for.
I just don't want to get to a point where in the future you're on this show, you're in HOH first week, second week, and your nominations are not based on how you're going to further yourself in the game, but how the internet is going to look at it.
I mean, like, shit, we saw that with Holly throughout this whole season. How paranoid was Holly? She's already, she's so paranoid. She was paranoid.
So then the final question, which was the one I was looking forward to, ended up being the one that didn't matter. It mattered the least. It was the Nick Bella cat triangle.
Well, that was going to be the fun part. And by the time they got to that, it was just like, whoa. Yeah,
it was like, who cares about that now?
Exactly.
When we're destroying lives.
So then the voting was revealed. Nicole voted Holly, as did Jessica. I mean, I was surprised she was able to make a vote.
Really?
Yeah, really. And we found out later that it was Annalise.
Cat. Go ahead. Yeah, Annalise.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Cat.
Yes.
So Jackson won 6-3. But boy, was that a deflated victory walk out. The man who had said all summer long, I can't wait to walk out to the confetti.
I do think that imagery helped him, though. That was a little bit of a Christie manifesting, because he kept it specific. He made his dream specific. He wanted confetti falling on him. and he got it. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as he's standing there with a frown on his face, we had the announcement of America's favorite player.
Yeah.
This to me was hilarious because the top three were Cliff, Tommy, and Nicole. Cliff had a smug look on his face that reminded me of He Who Shall Never Be Named. He thought he had it in the bag. And Tommy, meanwhile, was getting ready for his Home Alone face.
Oh yeah, Tommy was like squealing. Oh my God, really? Wow.
And then the winner was what we all expected, Nicole.
Yeah,
Nicole won.
that was not a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but wait. I want to go back to the walk. I didn't know you were jumping ahead yet. So Jackson's deflated victory walkout. It was really depressing. And I'm so mad at CBS for ruining that moment for him. And actually, a lot of viewers were angry too. I was surprised because I know how the viewers this season have gone. The viewers are all pro Cliff, pro Nicole, anti Jackson. I know that. But I went and I was, so CBS would tweet like a picture of Jackson walking out, right? Or like, oh, and your winner is, or your final three is. And so I went and I was reading the replies. And I read a lot of replies from people that were furious with the way that CBS handled this finale. And I was surprised because I know, how you guys are chatting in the thing, how the fan base was going. But look, if Jackson was truly the evil being that people think he is, you know what he would have done? He would have strutted out there like a peacock with a huge smile on his face. If he was that narcissist that y'all want him to be, that arrogant asshole, he would have walked out there smiling, proud, being like, fuck yeah, I did it, man. But no, like, he beamed. He would have just been happy winning the money. But what did he do instead? He was scared. He was nervous. He was sad. He was worried. Only someone with a conscience acts like that.
Well, but on the other hand, Jackson is maintaining that he didn't do anything wrong. And so in his mind, he's bewildered as to what he could have done wrong to upset people. So I'm not saying he doesn't have a conscience, but I also think he doesn't necessarily understand maybe some of the things that he did. So
I still don't understand some of the things that he did. So, I mean, well, let's not go into that. But
yeah, I mean, look. I mean,
I don't even want to get into it because then you get back to the specific things that people said and everything that they thought Jackson said has been debunked, or it was Jack that quoted Sam, and people made a big thing out of that. I don't think anybody did anything bad to begin with.
Well,
I think
talking about the I'm racial, so let's take the racial stuff out of that.
Okay, so if you're not talking, so then what did Jackson do that he's supposed to be?
Well, he talked about beating the crap out of people. He talked about in symbolically. He talked about the way he treated Holly when she's crumbling to the ground, crying, and just walking by her, being a total cold as ice kind of a person. That wasn't seen nicely. Whether there are ways that Jackson treated people that were not the nicest at all, and so that's where he got
100%. Okay, but there are ways I treat people that aren't 100% nice. You be one of them, Mike. Scott being another. Does that mean still don't think that that's a reason to ruin what should be one of the best nights of your life?
Okay.
Because
I still agree.
Maybe you're rude to a girl. Oh my God, that's so bad. He was rude to a girl. Well, you know what? A lot of people have been rude to me. Who cares?
I think CBS was trying to cover its ass because
100%.
if they treated Jackson the way you're saying that maybe they should have treated Jackson, the blowback from the fans and the press could have been even worse. Is look how they crown this guy with all. So now they can get off of it by saying, "Look, we showed you what
All I can say is, thank God social media was around in the days of Evil Dick and a few other previous winners.
Yep.
Yeah, see, and that's what me. You know me with if anything, Big Brother 8, the way he talked to Jamaica, racial, if that happened yesterday, racial, or the way he treated Amber, crying Amber, Wamber, right? Oh, or the stuff he said to Jen.
But Dan trying to hurt.
What drives me so crazy is the hypocrisy of it all.
The beloved Dan trying to hurt Danielle with paintballs.
Yes, but we didn't know about that.
No, but
that came in the article. But no, but go back to Big Brother, go back to Dr. Will, go back to Will Kirby.
Yeah.
The stuff he would say that when remember, Will Kirby was not liked by most fans for about the first until Chilltown was gone, until Boogie and what's her name were out, Shannon were out of the house. He was not well liked, and he was a total dick, a total asshole. He would say things about, I remember one specific story that I can remember reading and typing about this on the feeds where he would lie and tells all kinds of stories. And he told a story about he was at Disney World and he got thrown out of the park for punching out Goofy. And people were believing it. Now, he was totally BSing it. But what if someone with the house guest, what if Jackson told a story about how, yeah, I was in Disney and I punched out Goofy and got in trouble? The people would be up in arms, and that would have never been forgotten. But Will told it towards the beginning. There's no flashback. There's no big social media. And so it was all forgotten. Except for Steve that still remember it. But, yeah.
It's funny today, and I do see when Dr. Will was interviewing the jury and having that question, I saw him be like, well, don't you guys, what do you think was the biggest game move? Like, he wanted to focus. I've seen him when he interviews these juries, he always tries to turn it to game. He's like, well, but okay, maybe that would have been annihilated had his season happened today. I hear that he's been super, super, super anti-Jackson like all season long. I don't know because he's blocked me, but this is what people tell me, that he's been 100% hypocrite. 100% hypocrite.
Here's the bottom line for me. The person that played the game the hardest, that played the game the most strategic, that played the game full all out from day one, it's the person that won. And he may be you could think he's a horrible person. There's certainly reasons to think he's a horrible person. I'm not for one moment saying he's a good person. I think he got a lot better once Chuck left. But we've talked about that many times. The person that won the game was the person that played the hardest. And I think that's what we've always said should be the one. It's not, oh, I love her. She's so sweet and innocent and a unicorn. That would have been embarrassing, in my opinion. If that person won. So
no, it's said it. If Nicole had won, even if she had made it to the finals against Jackson and she had won, it would have been because it was either a bitter jury or a jury that kind of thought, well, we should vote for her because she's the nicer one of the two. She did not have the stats to go up against Jackson. Nicole, to have a chance, needed to go up against Holly.
So that's big. Again, if Survivor had live feeds, we would think a lot differently about a lot of people that did win over the years. But the bottom line is people who win these kind of games where you do have to deceive, where you do have to lie occasionally, the person that plays the hardest is the person that should win. And I'm not saying that Jackson is this great stellar of the community. He's not. But he is, of these 16 people, the person that played hardest from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So he deserved to win, regardless of what he's like as a person.
Yep.
Do we want a miscongeniality winner?
No.
Well, I mean, we have laughed in the last couple seasons. I mean, nothing made me happier than when stupid, what's his name? Paul lost because he was such an asshole. I laughed my ass off, but I was tempered by the fact that he was handed every advantage to give him that season.
Right. We weren't laughing the season before when Nicole won it over him. It was just the next season.
Oh, God. Don't give me that nightmare. So, okay. Let's move on from that. There was an uncomfortable scene at the very end where Julie did a little interview with Jackson, asking his reaction to winning. And he said he's doing it for his family, and that's all he cares about. He wants them to be proud of him.
Oh, no, wait. This pissed me off. She's like, oh, well, like, aren't you happy? Why don't you look happy? I'm like, why do you think he doesn't look happy, you dumb bitch? You just annihilated the guy who was clueless to 90% of the things you were asking him. You implied that the whole country hates him. You robbed him of feeling proud for playing a kick-ass game all summer long. Why do you think he's not beaming with pride right now, you asshole? The guy is so shocked by your treatment of him. Fuck you, Julie, especially since you have a husband who did some slimy, possibly illegal things in real life. Oh, Les wasn't playing a game competing for money. What's his excuse?
Valid point. Valid point.
Yes.
I also laughed when he was asked about his showmans. And he goes, well, we'll just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
God, that was
and that's what he's been saying ever since.
Every
interview.
They both sort of decided that. I heard him on
I think
Jessica.
she wants it more than one day at a time.
No, I know. Well, okay, listen. I heard him. He was on Jessica Nixon's podcast that I listened to, and she asked him about that, and he's like, look, he goes, we need to see how our lives go, but we made an agreement that even if she's dating someone and even if I'm dating someone, we're still going to take a trip every year. 1 year we're going to go someplace hot. The next year we're going to go someplace cold. Yep. And Jessica started laughing, and she's like, oh, just wait until she gets a boyfriend or you get a girlfriend. That's probably not going to happen. He's like, I know. It's probably a fantasy. But and then he also, because she's like, oh, is Holly lying next to you in bed right now? And she's like, no, I haven't been able to see her yet. I think she's like with her family or something. So they haven't even been able to sort of join. But I also picture Holly's family, probably maybe once they got a hold of her, or maybe Holly's friends, and knowing what went on social media, they're probably like, dude, don't be with him. So it's not even like it's going to be his choice if they're together or not. It's going to, and we know how wishy-washy and insecure this bitch is. Yeah. We know how insecure she is. So, yeah, she's going to listen to everybody else. And it's not going to last. And I don't think it should. I don't think they are a match made in heaven at all. It served them in the game. It got them to the final two. Look, it got them all the prize money. Good. And that's where it needs to end. They're not going to fall in love, have babies, and whatever. No.
There was another funny moment, though, when Julie, even though we all think next year's All-Stars, Julie is saying, you can sign up for Big Brother by going blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Annalise.
And Christy, actually, if you look at it. But, yeah, Toombs caught it. If you want to go back, if you have a DVR, go back and watch where Julie announces that you can sign up for next year to cast. And right next to Julie, you have Holly giving the thumbs up, like, yeah, you should do it. And then right over Holly's shoulder, Annalise looks around, and Annalise just very subtly just nods her head, like, or shakes her head like, no. Have you seen this, Colette?
No.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So funny. It is, and actually, you can't see her face completely, but you can see Christy is right next to Annalise, and she's doing the same thing, like, no, don't.
That's funny. And there's also one other interesting thing. By Nicole winning favorite player,
right?
I've seen various editions of the money that they made.
Right.
Winning third place, winning America's favorite player. She supposedly made just as much, if not more, than Holly at second place.
Like $25,000 for America's favorite player. The laddered fifth, fourth, third. They give a little bit more for each one. So she got $10,000 for getting third place, plus her stipend of roughly $15,000 is what's been
estimated. And second and first don't get a stipend; they get their winnings.
They get $50 and $500. So in theory, if that's accurate, and it's ballpark, Nicole probably made about the same amount as Holly by getting third.
Okay,
and America's favorite player. Yep.
All right. One last thing to talk about as the credits were rolling, we saw Jackson's parents coming up to congratulate Jackson, but it wasn't just congratulating.
Yes.
So, Mike, you grabbed that. You explained what we heard.
So he's like, Jackson is looking at his mom. He's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And then he says, people are saying, and I can't quote it for sure, like he says, I'm not a racist or something. And then you can hear his mom, and you can go back and listen to this afterward. Just rewind our show. His mom says something like, yes, there were just some weird, bad comments, like she's already consulting. No, it's not you. It's just some weird comments that were made. Or so, yeah, Mama's taking care of. Mama's taking care of Jackson.
Yeah. So Jessica asked him on her show what she said, and he was like, "Oh, she just said that everything's okay and that it's all right." Because I was like, because he said, "Oh, you seemed really worried about what your mom would think and what did they say?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, she said it was okay and everything."
Well, he's worried about Mama. Mama was smiling in the audience.
Yeah. And Mama is not what I pictured her to look like at all. At all. They were a lot older than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know his backstory of he's an only child, so but he looked like his dad.
Oh, so that was a big thing. So you're talking about how Jackson said that all that matters is his family and did it for his family. He talked in an interview about where he said that he's an only child and that he's the only one to carry on the family name. So that's why it's incredibly important that he honors his family and doesn't shame them in any way. And then he did say when his mom hugged him that his mom, said everything was okay and everything was
okay.
Gotcha. Well, now that the season is over, we can kind of go through and talk about various topics. Did we exhaust did the right person win? I know I gave.
I think.
I gave.
Yeah, we all agree on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then let's get into our favorite player. I'll go first.
You go first.
Kat was my favorite player. I love that stupid bitch. She was the best. I wish she had lasted longer. She was my great hope for a kind of hot woman going longer and making funny comments. Oh, poor Kat. I mean, Nick? Really? Nick? Really? Come on, Kat.
Nick did explain his haircut on one of his interviews, too.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, he basically said, I was losing my hair and I got a replacement surgery and I was trying to let it grow out and it was just a bad time.
Plugs?
Yeah.
His hair plugs?
Oh yeah, we knew that from the start. He had paid money for hair plugs. Oh no, we knew he paid money for hair plugs.
Well, like that sort of makes it sad that everyone's making fun of his hair now.
He owned it though. He said, "Look, I had a hair thing, and this is what happened." And it's like, "All right, Nick."
I didn't know that.
Nick. I'll go now, Scott, and I'll go for a second. But Nick is not my favorite player, but I just don't get Nick, man. He is so uncomfortable when he's talking in his interviews and stuff, and his face and his cringiness and anyways, my favorite, I don't have a favorite. I really you know what? No, I did actually. Let me look at my list. Yeah. If I have to pick a favorite, it's for purely selfish reasons. And that would be I really wanted him to last further in the game. And so he would have been my favorite player. I'm hoping he may come back for an all-star season because I really want to take it.
No, oh God, no, that's like me wanting Sam to come back for an all-star season.
Don't you want Sam to come back?
I'm not that selfish.
Okay, fine. Who was your favorite collab?
Oh, well, who do you think?
I don't know.
My boy, the winner, Jackson. Jackson was my favorite because look, and here's the thing. Because you know what? Before the season even started and we did our pre-show, who was the only one of us three who liked him? Me. It was one of the very few people who liked him out of anybody on Twitter. Me. Everybody hated him for the season. He was my boy from the beginning, and I stuck with him. And yeah, there you go. There you go. I feel like for 2 seasons I've picked pretty well just on interviews. Like I picked Tyler. I actually really liked Casey from her interview. I like Jackson. I've made some pretty solid picks.
Fair enough.
Some pre-interviews, the meaning they've gone far. But yeah, Jackson.
Okay. In the chat, Rebecca has asked, does Scott love Kat more than he loves Veronica?
It's a different kind of love.
I feel like it's different.
It's a different kind of love. But I'll always have a place in my heart for Veronica.
I feel like you weren't hot for Veronica.
I think Veronica.
I feel like you were hot for
Veronica, we take home to mom and dad. Kat would be the one that he,
Oh, that's a valid point. Good job.
Yeah, yeah. I think Kat would be the one that mom wouldn't approve of. Veronica would be the one that mom would approve of.
Yeah, that's very good. Very good observation.
All right.
Mike has thought about it. Yeah.
Okay,
Sure I
least
have.
favorite player. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
I think we can all agree on the same one. And why don't you just have her tell us?
Jessica.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
How that bitch got cast, I don't understand.
It's because she represents something, Scott. It's because she's standing for something. That's why.
Okay. I don't know what she represents yet, but
Well, according to her, she does. She represents something.
Plus
She's standing
size
for something.
models.
Really?
It was plus size models, but whatever.
Really?
There was many other plus size models out there that could have played the game better than her. So
you mean could have actually tried to play the game?
That chick from BBOTT.
no, careful. No. The bloody hands. No, we don't want to go there.
Oh,
don't you remember her?
Oh, Christy on
Into
that
the
cob
wall.
was one of the.
She did
I do
the
remember,
wall
but she
comp.
kind of played. But at least she played, right?
She
She
did
played more than Jessica did.
Yeah,
She
but
tried.
her drop.
Yep.
That's all I'm trying. That's all I'm trying to say. She played
She had
more
the
than Jessica.
stigmata going with her. Oh
She
yeah.
played more
Oh,
than
by
Jessica.
the way, I don't know who created it. I know I retweeted it, but somebody posted a video of Jessica's season.
Yeah.
And it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It hit all the spots. Oh my god, that was hilarious. All right. Biggest move of the season, I'm gonna say it's Jax's lie about Tommy.
Really?
That's what I have.
Really?
Yeah, what do you have?
Well, because did Jackson's lie with Tommy actually change the game, or it was just a dramatic moment that you got to see?
Yeah, it changed the game because if Holly went that week, Jackson would have been
Yeah, but
screwed.
didn't we agree that they were going to vote out Tommy anyways? It didn't matter that Jackson did all that. I thought that's what we agreed on when we talked about it.
No.
Cliff was the one who talked Nicole into getting rid of Tommy because Nicole still wanted to keep Tommy.
But okay, there was a time when Cliff wanted Tommy out. Cliff and Nicole both, Cliff and Nicole were both getting Holly out. They were, and then Jackson had to convince them, and then Cliff finally changed his mind because of what Jackson did, and then Jackson convinced Nicole.
Well, I will. I'll just leave it at this, or you can say I'm wrong, and that's fine. But I thought Jackson's little thing was very entertaining and really good television. I didn't think it had as much impact on the game as was implied. So that being said, it was good TV. Now,
so what is yours, Christy? Nicole getting out Christy?
So I actually have two potential because I couldn't figure out between the two. I did have Nicole getting out Christy because I thought that changed the it took the game in one direction because right then she broke up Tommy and Christy, and so that was a major shift in the game. That's why I didn't think, although Cliff would argue that Tommy getting voted out was a big shift in the game for him, but I thought Nicole getting out Christy really broke up, changed the way the game was going. And then the other one that I saw as a possible as a biggest move of the season was the night that the 6 shooters broke up.
Oh, sure.
And Holly managing to pull it together and keeping Jackson from getting voted out, which I think Jackson would agree that was a big move. That he got saved and didn't end up going home that week. So
that changed my entertainment of the season was that day.
Right. That was another entertaining day too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. I haven't really thought about this one. Worst move of the season?
I have mine.
Okay, go for it. I have
mine too.
Mine feeds right away. Cliff talking Nicole into keeping Holly. If it would be, that was killed his game and changed and kind of locked in Jackson as the winner. So worst move of the season by a person was Cliff taking that, thinking that he was going to be safe with Jackson.
I think I have an even better one.
Okay.
And I'm going to go way, way back because it ruined their game so bad, they didn't even get to play it. I touched on it earlier. Kemi refusing to go talk to Jackson the week of the camp director.
There you go.
That ruined her entire summer. Boom, out of the game. You don't even get to play. That's how bad it was. It took you out instantly.
Certainly ruined Big Brother
Yeah.
Yeah. And it ruined it for us too.
I think that's the worst. Okay, how about this for worst move of the season? CBS throwing the cast under the bus on the finale night. I mean, the worst move of the season is hard. It just depends on whose game you're looking at, I guess.
No, because I had it in my notes and I was going to say Cliff saying the final two wasn't reciprocal. That was what I had cement in my notes. That was going to be my worst thing. But then when I went through the outline and I was making my notes on other stuff, I was like, no, wait a minute. Actually, had Kemi just gone and talked to Jackson, she maybe could have been there the entire season, and maybe she could have been a really good player and totally fucked things up for Jackson and the 6 shooters and everybody else, and maybe started an alliance with Nicole. That could have changed the entire season had she just not been so freaking stubborn and just talked to him. Horrible move.
That's good.
Okay, so let's go about what about David not being able to find his way out of a room?
That's competition. You know what I mean? That's like in the dark. I'm not going to hold that against it. I mean, anybody could be in the dark and lost their way, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Another worst move of the season is Jessica's all-female alliance that never really happened.
Really?
Yes, really. All right, let's move on. I'm going to combine the two here. What worked and what didn't work this season? Well, as usual, the twists didn't work. None of the twists worked. The camp counselor thing was ridiculous.
Keeping the evicted house guests in the house.
I know you love that. I don't.
Well, I didn't love it. Don't be that strong with it. But I loved it. But I thought it was an interesting spin on the dynamics, and it made it kind of interesting with them kind of lurking around. It certainly caused the drama when they were sitting around watching we're not going to talk to these people, and then they immediately all talk to them.
Okay. Okay. Colette?
Worst, what worked, what didn't. I thought what worked, have-nots disappearing. No one missed them, right? I think it's time to retire. It's time to retire that, right? I feel like.
Let's touch have-nots for just a second.
Why do we have to? Why do we have to, though? We already took care of it, Mike. We're having a love fest. Why do we have to do it?
All right, we will not be addressing the have-not controversy. It should go, but we both agree that it should go away. How's that?
Okay, there you go. Yeah. I mean, did you miss it? I feel like no one missed it when it was gone. And it's just a waste of time. And I think it's just, I think it's always been pandery for the audience to be like, oh, look at this terrible room we made for them to sleep in. And like, it's so stupid. It's dumb. We don't need that. Let's focus more on gameplay. Let's get more gameplay instead of 2 to 3 minutes an episode on dumbass have-nots. So that's, I think,
what was the final countdown on have-nots this season, Mike?
2 weeks. And 2 minutes of TV time. Yeah. 2 weeks and 2 minutes of TV time.
And I'm going to agree with Scott a little bit on Camp Comeback. I don't think it worked, but that's only because of this weird anomaly of how Twitter turned it into something ugly. But I think in essence, it maybe could have worked. It could have been interesting, but the fact that it just exasperated what already was going on with woke Twitter, it was a terrible thing to happen this season.
So there was one other thing that worked that Miss Don Draper brought up in chat. The stool worked. Very good.
It worked very well.
The true MVP of the season.
Apparently worked very well.
So overall, and we've talked about this a couple times, I think once the big grateful thing broke up, and once the camp people were kicked out finally, I think the season turned out pretty well. I mean, I know that everybody, worst season ever.
No, it wasn't the worst season ever.
No. The worst season, I'm going to say like that Paul's season was terrible. Like that was awful. Or his first one. Or no, yeah, the one where he came back.
Second, 19.
That 19. I remember being just exasperated by because no one played. And they kept throwing other comps. That was a terrible season.
A lot of people played hard this year. They might not have played well, but they played hard.
Well, I mean, yeah, they may not have played hard in the beginning, but they learned that they had to, and then they did.
Yeah. I mean, nobody can say Christy didn't play hard.
No. The only person that played hard.
I mean, that girl can talk herself out of anything.
The only person that didn't play hard was Jessica.
And Nicole.
Really?
and Nicole until September 1st.
Oh, whatever. She thought she was playing. She just didn't know. She was in the She was in an alliance with me, even though I was already evicted.
Yeah.
She and
Well,
Cliff.
you will be making cookies is gameplay, so shush. Shush.
And being nice.
we all pretty much think that next year will be All Stars, right?
That's weird. I didn't even consider that because I don't know if it's a nightmare or a blessing because I don't know. I don't know.
I think 20th anniversary, as I said last week, 20th anniversary and Olympics. I don't care what Julie announces from the stage. That never means anything.
Yeah. What we've said last week when we talked about it, they got a lot of new cast members to draw from, but then the question is how many of the cast members on this season can they now bring back because they kind of trashed them.
Or knowing how different social media is and how obnoxious they are now, what cast members would even want to come back, knowing that one little thing they could say could destroy their lives? I would seriously consider that. If I was a past house guest, I'd be like, look, I left my season with a pretty good reputation. Like, do I really want to go and get involved in this crap again?
And plus,
consider
as Mike has said many times, most of them now have jobs.
Yeah.
Leaving
You know,
for
life
3
gets in
months
the
is
way of
kind of
things,
tough. Not everybody has a 401k like Cliff does to live off of.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
all right. Anything else before we wrap things up?
Nope.
All right. I mean, what are we doing this off season? I mean, Colette and I will continue to do day drinking. Mike, you still do your car casting, right?
Last year I kept doing it. I do it on a different, I call it my non-Big Brother car cast. So I'll do that every once in a while. I kept a little bit more in touch with the Big Brother fandom world this past year. But this is going to be the first Big Brother. There's not going to be a celebrity. There's not an over the top.
I'm sad about that. I'm sad about no celebrity.
So this is the first time in since 2017, I think, or whatever, that we've had something in between, because we had Celebrity Big Brother 1, or we had Big Brother Over the Top, then we had Celebrity Big Brother 1, Celebrity Big Brother 2. So this is the first time since I did the stat, whatever it is. It's been several years at this point that we will go an entire 9 months almost without a Big Brother.
And Mrs. Mike is so happy with that.
Yes, I'll be, but you know what? I think it's going to make me really ready when June comes around. We won't have just gotten over, the celebrity. I won't have to drive to Tennessee to get someone to sign something. Who was in the audience at the finale? He was in the audience at the finale. Did you see that?
Yeah,
I did.
I did not.
You missed it? I'll screen cap it for you.
No, I don't want to see it. Don't even bother tweeting it to me.
All right, well, let's do our plugs then and get out of here. We really milked this as long as we possibly could, didn't we? I thought we'd be done in an hour. Oh, boy, was I wrong.
What are you thinking?
All right, Mike, go first.
You can kind of follow me on Twitter at BBGOSSIP. Look, I'm there. I do occasionally check it and check my ats. You can always drop me an email at ilovereality@gmail.com, and I will try to respond to any that I get. And as Scott mentioned, I will do an occasional car cast or something, or Periscope when the mood strikes me. But I am going to lift my foot off the accelerator and take a bit of a break. I hope you guys have a wonderful 2019. And subscribe. Those of you that are just hearing this, look, it's September 27th. You can still be a patron and sign up before the end of the month and put in whatever you want and say a one-time donation or whatever, and we'll get it. And it would be most appreciated as a little send-off, as a thank you, or whatever you want to do, because we do work our asses off on this thing. So yeah, that's it.
Colette.
You can follow me on Twitter. I am active, very active, all year round, every day, talking about whatnot. At Colette Lala, COLETTELALA. Same thing on Instagram. Just send me a little DM. Just be like, "Hey, Baby Gossip listener," and I will accept you. At Facebook.com/Colette.Lala. I mix it up. I post different stuff on all of my social media because I hate when I follow a celebrity and it's the exact same thing on all three platforms. I try to mix it up all over the place. Day drinking. Please, please, please. We hope you guys check out Day Drinking and you want to stick with us. Make sure you're following at Day Drinking Pod on Twitter. We also have a Day Drinking Facebook page, which you can probably find from our Twitter page and whatnot. What else? Anything else I need to talk about? Patreon.com. Please, 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 if you've been listening all season long, even if it's just $1 for listening for 3 months, just as a little thank you, whatever, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Patreon.com/BigBrotherGossip.
All right. And as Claude just said, we continue day drinking all season long. We have so much fun doing it. Patreon.com/day drinking. I also have a little music show called The Ledge. I did it earlier tonight. There was a Replacements box set. Oh my God. I had so much fun playing tracks off it. There's also a Beatles box set that I played tracks off, and a Ramones box set. It was box set mania. You can get
You
more.
didn't do just Replacements? I'm shocked.
No. So I had music from my childhood, the Beatles, music from my teens, the Ramones, music from my adulthood, the Replacements. How perfect was that? ScottHudson.blogspot.com, or just look for the Live Ledge on all the podcast places. And yeah, I think with that, we're done, right? We're done?
Yep.
We'll
We're
talk
done.
to you in June.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, bitches.
All right, I'll see you bitches later.